Hello everyone, you're all very welcome. We'll just give it a moment there while the system lets everyone file in. Seeing a lot of familiar names there, so that's great, good to see. I hope nobody was too badly put out by the storm last night or the winds still raging. Hopefully our connections will all hold as well. Just to let you know as well, as usual, we'll be recording this session and putting it on YouTube. So if you do lose your connection at any point, don't worry about it, it'll all be up on YouTube, probably by Monday at the latest, I'd imagine. Tuesday at the absolute latest. Okay, that seems to have settled at the numbers there now, so I think we're all here. So hello everyone, you're all very welcome to this, can't remember which number it is now. We've done quite a few of these online grants clinics, so it's great to see you all again, even if it is just virtually. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Valerie. I'm the Community and Public Engagement Officer with the Heritage Council. And with us today, we also have Amanda Ryan, our Grants Officer, and Ian Doyle, our Head of Conservation. So today we're going to be talking about the Heritage Stewardship Fund and the way that today is going to run. So first of all, I'm going to talk you through Heritage Week, and I've got a little presentation about that. Then Amanda is going to talk to you about actually applying for the fund, and then we'll have plenty of time for Q&A. So you'll notice that you are all muted, and that's just because there's quite a few of us here. We wouldn't be able to hear anything with the feedback coming through. So if you do have questions, and I hope you do have plenty of them because that's what we're here for, you'll notice on the bottom of your screen there's a Q&A box. If you click on that and pop all of your questions in there, when Amanda's finished with her presentation, I'll put the questions to either Ian or Amanda as appropriate. If you have just general comments that you want to make, you can feel free to pop them in the chat box. Let us know where in the country you're tuning in from, what organizations you're with, and just get to know someone in your wider heritage community. These are great opportunities for people to get to know the names of who's in different organizations as well. So I suppose it's the closest to networking we've had in about 2 years, so we might as well take advantage of it. So I'm going to get started straight away. So I'm going to start off by sharing my screen here with you, and I'm going to give you a short presentation about Heritage Week. So National Heritage Week is coordinated by the Heritage Council as part of European Heritage Days. It is a joint initiative of the Council of Europe and the European Union, in which more than 50 countries participate each year. Prior to 2020, National Heritage Week was very much events focused, with public health reactions, however, or restrictions to all the social gatherings with COVID-19. Obviously, we saw huge challenges to that. So we had to shift the focus from events more to projects, and we also had a lot of online interaction going on. So we worked with the heritage sector and community groups to support them in delivering an online celebration of heritage. And to say that you delivered is the understatement of the century. The rate of participation absolutely exceeded our expectations. We had over 850 creative and innovative heritage projects uploaded to the Heritage Week website in 2020. And then in 2021, once we were all a little bit more accustomed to the Zoom lifestyle, we saw an amazing blend of over 1,000 online projects and live outdoor events, keeping National Heritage Week as vibrant as ever. Online projects ranged from talks to exhibitions, videos, podcasts, PowerPoint presentations, blogs, media coverage, dedicated websites, social media accounts, anything you can imagine. And then of course we were, thankfully, because some of the restrictions had eased, we were able to have some quite limited in-person outdoor socially distanced events. Of course, everything completely in line with COVID-19 guidelines. So here are the dates for National Heritage Week 2022. As you can see here, it runs from August 13th to 21st. And I'd also like to mention that you are invited to participate in National Biodiversity Week, which runs from May 15th to 22nd. Planning for National Heritage Week starts in February, which we're into now. So I'd like to remind you all that Heritage Council grantees are required to participate in National Heritage Week. So this will definitely need to be factored into your work plan when applying for a grant. It's likely that the project element will be retained for this year so that organisers can do online events or projects or in-person events to showcase their project Obviously, that's all subject to change with whatever goes on with our guidelines at the time, but it's nice to know that there is that option there to move things online if that's more fitting with what you've got in mind. During National Heritage Week, there are also a couple of days that focus on particular themes. So these are Water Heritage Day and Wild Child Day. So Water Heritage Day is the second Sunday of National Heritage Week. It's held in partnership with the local authority Waters Programme, LawPro. And during this day, we celebrate our wonderful lakes, canals, rivers, seas, wetlands, and all kinds of waterways, and of course, our deeply rooted connections to them. Wild Child Day then is usually held on the Wednesday of Heritage Week, and it's all about engaging children with nature. So organisers are asked to create events suitable for children and families, getting them involved in a hands-on experience of their heritage, particularly their natural heritage. So we have themes for Heritage Week, and the theme for 2021 was all around inclusivity and reaching out to those that had never engaged in National Heritage Week before. So be that individuals who don't usually feel included in local heritage. So it could be some of our newer communities or people of differing ability levels, anything at all. We also encourage organisers to include different age groups in heritage projects. And that's a theme that we're really going to take forward into future years, because we saw a wonderful diversity in age, ethnicity, ability levels, everything across Heritage Week last year. And it was just so really wonderful to see so many people getting involved in their local heritage. So looking ahead to 2022, the theme was announced by the Council of Europe's European Heritage Days as Sustainable Heritage. National Heritage Week 22 will likely retain the project element introduced in 2020, and we're going to be looking at a hybrid mix of projects, online and in-person events. So it's really nice to actually keep that online focus for some people, or to put part of your event or your project online, because something that we saw the last 2 years was we got a great engagement from the diaspora. So that's lovely to see people who can connect in a more concrete way with their ancestral homes. So we're bringing heritage from a very, very micro level to a macro level. So we're going from the local to the international, and there'll be no stopping us then. So planning for National Heritage Week is beginning this month. So definitely get ready to get knuckled down with all of that, and stay tuned for further announcements in the spring. So that's the end of my presentation. So now I'm going to hand you over to Amanda, and I will spotlight her here so that you all get to listen to her intently. Oh, Amanda, you're muted there, sorry.
Sorry about that. Thanks, Valerie. Hi to everyone. You're very welcome here today. I'm going to share my short presentation with you now, because I'm sure you all have lots of questions. Valerie, is that showing up? Yep, that's good. So yes, this is our new scheme, the Heritage Stewardship Fund 2022. So it's a little bit of a learning curve for us as well. And we have a fund of 500,000 towards the scheme this year. So the applications are opened at the moment online. So the closing date is the 16th of the 2nd at 5 p.m. Overall funding, 500,000. Maximum award is 25,000, and you must show a monetary contribution of 25% towards the project. So our maximum would be 75%. When you apply, all applications are screened first for eligibility. Then we'll do an internal professional officer review and scoring, and more than likely we will be creating a shortlist. The shortlist then will be presented to an external panel for assessment, and then on to board approval in mid-April. If you are awarded funding, it has to be completed. The project has to be completed by the 17th of October. And when I say it has to be completed, you also have to show that you have paid for the costs associated with the project. So it's a little bit more than just having it finished. So basically the objective of the scheme, it's a new stream, and it's to support the work of heritage professionals based in local authorities and public bodies. So that could be museum curators, archivists, archaeologists, the ACOs and biodiversity officers. The scheme will also support employees of state agencies and third level institutions, educational institutions, to deliver heritage-focused projects. The fund is not intended to support state agencies whose core remit is heritage. So if your core responsibility is heritage, there's no point in applying. The scheme is not open to local authority heritage officers. We have a separate allocation of funding that supports their projects annually, but obviously their collaboration is very welcome. This scheme is really to support staff who wouldn't normally have access to Heritage Council funding or indeed other funding. So these are just project examples, and when I had them done, I realised that, and I could see from the participants, there's lots of museums here today, and I think there's only about one example that relates, well, not entirely to museums. So just to say that this is only a very small list, and you probably have lots of other ideas in mind. So basically it could be something like data research, collection, accessibility projects. We're particularly interested in inclusion and access and projects that address people with disabilities or indeed minority groups. Also the whole aspect of climate change, traditional building skills, anything like that we're particularly interested in. But as I said, for our museums cohort here, we're very interested in seeing applications from yourselves as well. So there's more examples on our guidance document. So as I said, I won't go down through them all individually. These are only examples. Eligible costs, really any third-party supplier costs, and that can be for consultants or services, anything like that. If you are intending to increase the hours of a part-time contract staff member, you will need to include a letter from the director, CEO, manager, whatever, to confirm this. And if you are awarded funding, we'll also be looking for that at drawdown claim stage as well. This is really, we are interested, all our funding is very interested in, increasing employment, and rather than kind of supporting existing staff costs. So an eligible cost will be overheads, administration fees. For local authorities, it would be like, I'm trying to think of the word, where departments are providing services to other sections. All those kind of related costs are not eligible under the scheme. Salaries of existing employees, international travel. So before making your application, please read the application guidance document. I can't stress that enough. We have undertaken security updates to the system in October 2021. So many of you will have used the system since then, but if you haven't, please read the instructions we have beside the link to the grant system, because you will have to validate an email, and there is a bit of to and froing, and it has caused a lot of issues for people recently trying to log on. So please read the instructions first. And if you can't remember your previous login details from pre-October 2021, do contact me by email, because I should be able to provide those for you. So once you're logged on, I should say, if you haven't used the system before, if this is your first time, you will need to register as a new user. And again, there are instructions uploaded to the link page to tell you, to go through with you what exactly you have to do. So when you are online and you're successfully logged in, answer the template. There is a series of template questions. Answer those concisely. Don't assume that assessors will know your work or your previous work. I've seen it on assessment panels where organizations or projects with a brilliant track record are presented before them, and because key information is omitted in the application that's there, they're not funded. So you have to make the case on your application. So the template questions only go so far, and they are quite generic. So that's where supporting documents come in. And I would advise that there's a list on page 6 of the guidance document, and you use that as a template or checklist to make sure that you have the minimum required documents uploaded. Also, as Valerie has just said, National Heritage Week is a condition, or participation in it is a condition of all grant-funded projects. But we also, I left out the word week there, apologies. You can also undertake an event for National Biodiversity Week either. On the application, there is a communication section, and here is your opportunity to demonstrate that you're willing to communicate and promote your project during its life cycle. Again, a lot of people, experience would tell us, a lot of applicants don't put as much effort into this section, and it often becomes the determining factor on whether we prioritize a project. So do spend a bit of time on it and come up with a plan for a Heritage Week or National Biodiversity Week event that will engage and create awareness as much as possible. Assessors love, 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 love images. I can't stress that enough. Photographs it really sells an application. So if it's for a museum and you're talking about a collection, give us samples of the collection, photos of the collection, the documents. It's really important. Also maps, if it's conservation or management of a site, building, anything like that, please provide a map with it. General advice is the system is live, so save frequently as you go along. Supporting documents must be saved in PDF or JPEG format. Please don't put up Excel spreadsheets or Word documents. These often don't open correctly for us when we're assessing. Maximum 10 megabytes per document. You can upload as many as you like, but I would keep them to relevant documents. Don't get too carried away. Please name the files according to their content. Don't use any symbols or characters. When you have uploaded document, you'll get a notice saying it's been checked for a virus. Don't panic, this is normal. I can't stress enough to start your application as soon as possible. As I said, people have had issues logging on and this has caused delays. So I would say get onto the system and get that sorted first and have started your application and filling in details and collecting supporting document. Traffic on the system on the last day is always really, really busy, and we get panicked phone calls at 2 minutes to 5, their screen is freezing or anything, or issues like that. So, do start it as quickly as possible so that it's not a mad panic towards the last minute. The system does shut down ruthlessly at 5 p.m. So you could be in the middle of your application and you're just frozen out, which is awful. And we can't do anything for you at that stage. So if you are having any issues with the system, do contact us as soon as possible, and especially on the day, if you can contact, because we more than likely can sort it out for you. It's very rarely we can't. Actually, I don't think there's been any case where we weren't able to assist or help someone out. So you know, avoid the last minute 2 minutes to 5 phone calls. The Heritage Council staff, we're currently working on the hybrid model. So we're only in the office each of us are only in the office a couple of days a week. My email address is there for general inquiries, but I would encourage you to discuss your proposals in advance with the various team members, and I've given the link there to where their contact details are. For instance, our wildlife officer, Ian, is archaeology, Colin Murray, architecture. I know Leslie Ann will be happy to answer queries from the museums section. So do take that opportunity to reach out and discuss your proposal in advance. And also if you're in a local authority, especially with your local heritage officer, because their support obviously is going to be very important. So that's the end of my presentation. So I'll hand you back to Valerie.
Thanks, Marion, Amanda, and that was great. We have quite a few questions here, so I will start running down through them. So first off, there was a question, there was a typo in the beginning about the deadline. So just to clarify, it's the 16th of March.
Okay, on the presentation.
Yeah, it said 16th of February. So
oh, apologies. We have so many grant schemes opened and closing that I'm afraid my attention to the calendar has gone a bit berserk. So yes, it's a Wednesday and it's the 16th of March. Just before is it a 2-day bank holiday?
Oh yes,
yeah.
4-day Paddy's Day bank holiday.
Yeah.
May God have mercy on us all. Question here, can staff from local authorities who are not dedicated heritage staff, perhaps a planner who works occasionally on heritage initiatives, apply?
Yes, yeah, but it would be good to have support from your local heritage officer, maybe in the form of just a letter of support to, you know, let them know that the project, what you're planning to go ahead with or apply for, but yes.
Okay. Would the digitisation of a collection owned by a local authority be eligible?
It certainly would fit the criteria, yes.
Can a local studies library apply for a Heritage Stewardship Fund grant?
Local study, unless it's local authority owned or publicly owned, that may sound like something that possibly could have come in through the community grant scheme. You know, the scheme is restricted to public sector, really.
Are there any interim funding measures available that projects could avail of to cover the cost of projects until drawdown in October, such as a short-term loan?
We wouldn't have a short-term loan, but we can facilitate if we'll say 50% progressed, you can submit a short progress report, and you'll have to show that because we are governed by the circular DPER, which is Department of Finance circular for proof of payment, you would have to show that it's paid. But we can facilitate interim claims.
Okay. This next question is about Heritage Week. So it's saying if one's project is not completed by Heritage Week, will involvement in next year's Heritage Week be sufficient? I would say still do something for this year. What do you think, Amanda?
Oh, absolutely, because you can still talk about the project. You could do an online presentation, you know, talk about the importance of it, the work that you're doing. There's lots of things. We find that a lot of people assume because the project isn't completed that they can't showcase some of the work during Heritage Week, but it is Heritage Week is a standard condition on all our grants, and we do look for evidence, and indeed we even check to see that it's registered as part of the drawdown process.
Okay. Can you apply to engage an individual to scan glass plate negatives and develop a community project around it?
Yes, that sounds like a project that will be considered, yes.
Can it be a joint application with another service within our culture division?
Yes, but you'd have to, one organisation would have to be the lead role. So that's in terms of just administering and contact and payments and things like that. So yes, that sounds like a good approach, a collaboration.
God, everything's going very positively.
And I can see Ian nodding.
Can the funding be used to support a collaborative heritage project with a community group?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. But again, the organisation would have to be the lead applicant.
Okay. Can a third level body contract a staff member outside of college term, so over summer, to work on the project? This would be separate to staff salary, where the staff member may have an independent company or role from the college and invoice the college as a third party.
That is a very in-depth question. I think we'll have to seek advice on that. I'm not... they're technically a third party. That's something maybe if that person that raised that query wouldn't mind emailing it to me, I can check with our head of finance just to get my head around it, and we'll get back to them as quickly as possible.
I think drop us a line on that. We said in the scheme details that it's not intended to cover staff or payroll costs. So just drop us a line on that and we'll have a look at it and we'll get back to you in plenty of time. Now, there was also a question about a local studies library. I'd say drop us a line on that too, just to make sure we understand it, rather than us just ruling it out at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're interested in having a look at that. We didn't mention librarians in the guidance we gave, but if they're local authority employees and it's heritage focused, we're not ruling it out. So drop us a line and we'll have a look at that too.
I've just seen a clarification has come through on that. So the local studies library is part of a library service that is under a local authority.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Eligible to apply. Yes.
Okay. Where were we? Is it one application per local authority only?
That we actually discussed that before we came on. We have nothing in the guidelines to say you can only make one application from an organisation, but across the board, with all our grant schemes, we will be looking to support as many different organisations as possible. So while you're not excluded, I would say, take care a bit and not waste time making lots of applications, because we will have to prioritise so that we can spread our funding as wide as possible. So for instance, if you have made an application under community and under heritage capacity, the chances of you being successful under this scheme are lower, because as I said, we do have to spread the funding out.
Spread the love.
Yeah, exactly.
Who is the contact person for the archive sector?
Is this within the Heritage Council? I'm offering Leslie Ann's name. I haven't actually spoken to her, but Leslie Ann or Alia also is a new member of staff. Her contact details are on the link I gave on our webpage. So either would be happy to help.
Our sites are owned by the council, but they are run by a not-for-profit with a board. Are we eligible?
No, because you'd be applying as a not-for-profit.
Yeah. Can a museum apply to this scheme as well as capacity and community? And also, can the Heritage Week event be the same as proposed for the community application, if that's already an ambitious event, like a mini festival? Just for the Heritage Week one, I'd say, yeah, one event to cover all. If you have funding from multiple streams from us, especially if it's a big event like a mini festival, should be fine.
Yeah, again, that goes back to my earlier response, or my response a few moments ago. We will be looking at where our funding is going to make sure that it is spread out, and that there isn't multiple amounts of funding going to one particular organisation. So yeah, we will have to prioritise.
Is the scheme open to conservation officers?
Yes, it is.
Simple answer.
Yeah.
And just on that, I'll email the conservation officers the details of this scheme later today, just to draw to their attention.
And can an individual local authority submit more than one application?
Again, that's the same reply as earlier. I would say, you know, kind of, you probably should get together with your heritage officer or your conservation officer and, you know, decide, or biodiversity officer, rather than making multiple applications, because we don't want to waste your time either. So be strategic about what you want to apply for.
Is one asked if one has applied for other funding such as BHIS, and would this impact negatively on the application?
It wouldn't impact negatively on the application, but I suppose there is, you'd have to be mindful of, there is also conditions with that stream of funding, I believe. I'm not sure exactly, but in terms of match funding and use of public funding as a source. So you would have to be aware of that as well. And you would insert, there is on the budget table, there is other sources of funding section. So you would have to declare if you have an application in for other public funding.
Can the funding be used in conjunction with other Heritage Council funding streams? That's a similar question to what we had before.
Yeah, like the same project, but different. I'm not quite sure. That could mean the same project, but funded through different streams. Again, that would be a very low priority. Is it? Yeah.
We've said in this that we want match funding from the applicants.
Yeah, 25%.
Yeah, using another Heritage Council pot to make that match funding.
Yeah, and it has to be monetary funding as well. It can't, like a cash contribution. It can't be, you know, a recharge from another department or overheads or anything like that.
And similarly, following on from that, there's been a comment about how people that are applying for multiple different streams, I suppose, just in case they're covering their bases, if they don't get one and they might qualify for the other, about not knowing by the deadline for applying. So I suppose the advice is to, if you're concerned, just apply for both. And
yeah, we will have results of the heritage capacity funding after next week. We have a council board meeting at the end of next week, so early the following week we will have results for that. The community, we won't. This will be adjudicated at the same time as this scheme, so possibly it would maybe be a good idea to apply. Unfortunately, I can see where, you know, that is far from ideal, that you know, applicants don't know about one scheme before another opens, and it's something we will have to look at for future rounds of funding.
Okay. We're coming close to the end of our bank of questions, so I would say if anyone has any other questions, do pop them into the Q&A box, or if you've put them into the chat box, if you could put them into the Q&A, please, just so that we don't miss them. And there's some hands raised as well amongst the attendees. If you can pop your question into the Q&A box, just with feedback and different connections and everything, it won't work if we try and let people talk. So yeah, keep the questions coming through there. So we have one here. Can the funding be used as seed funding for a larger project?
Seed fund, but for seed funding, does that mean? But what would the project be completed then within the timeline?
I think drop us a line on that one.
Yeah. And
we'll try to figure it out. And look, I mean, we'll be straight up on this. This is the first year we've done this scheme, and when you do a grant scheme like this, you have to fine tune it every year. So you're learning the whole time. So I think we will be learning as we develop this scheme, and it will evolve, and we hope we'll be able to continue this, subject to obviously there being a good demand for it. So I think the answer to that question is drop us a line and we'll get back to you.
Thanks, Ian. Good advice.
Would an exhibition project be eligible for this scheme?
Oh yes, yeah, it would.
Right, that is the last of the questions that I have in the Q&A, unless anyone has anything in there. So speak now or not forever hold your peace, but send us an email, I suppose. And if there's anything that comes to anyone at a later date, you can always reply to the registration email for this webinar and it'll come straight to me. And if I can't answer the question, then I'll forward it on to Amanda and Ian or whoever else amongst our team as appropriate. I'll just give a quick scan down through the chat and make sure I haven't missed any questions there.
And for the successful projects, we'll also do another webinar kind of to go through terms and conditions and drawdowns and things like that. But as Ian said, it is a new scheme, so we'll be learning as well and taking on board any suggestions or feedback from applicants. So, and if you have any queries, just I just see one pop.
Yeah, we have a couple more through here.
Okay.
Are the judging panel looking to deliver a geographical spread in the awards, or is it purely on merit?
I would say mainly on merit, but yeah, it would be because it's scored and it's based on the information that's provided. So again, the questions are template and generic on the online form. So it's really in the supporting documents that you make your case. So do be quite strategic about those. And as I said, photographs, you know, always are very welcome and well received, and you know they often can be the difference between a project because they tell a story. So definitely lots of photographs.
Can a local authority join forces with other local authorities to develop a project?
Yes, the same criteria would stand. You have to show maximum grant of 25,000. You have to show the 25%. And there would have to be one local authority taking a responsible role in terms of the administration of funding.
Is there a defined list of state or semi-state agencies who can apply, or is it on case-by-case basis?
Yeah, it's up to whoever applies to make the case in terms of the project. It's really the project. It's quite clear about who can apply in terms of like local authorities, public bodies, third levels, state agencies. It's the project, you know, that's the important thing.
And that's us up to date with all of our questions. So I think that's us for now, Amanda and Ian and everyone that's joined us today. So yeah, once again, I'd just like to thank everyone so much for your time. It's great to be able to have these sessions. And as I say, this will all be recorded and put up on YouTube as soon as possible. If you do have any questions, feel free to send me an email. Like I said, you can just reply to the registration email. Saves you having to go look for anyone's contact details, and I can forward it on to whoever needs be. So thank you all so much for coming. Thank you so much, Amanda, for your expertise as always. And thank you, Ian, for your time and expertise. Great to see you all, and good luck with your applications.
Thanks very much, everyone. Bye.
Bye.